Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Marcus from MR Guitar Service. You want to hear some crazy tour stories, don't you?
Of course.
You want to hear the... I know you guys out there in YouTube land also want to hear the crazy stuff. Well, bomb threats. How about bomb threats? Had a bunch of shows get canceled or shut down, even sometimes temporarily, due to bomb threats. Mostly ISIS. There was a while there from between, I want to say, maybe 2012 to 2017, 2020, where the ISIS bomb threats against big festivals, especially in Europe, were a big deal. I had a festival in Germany get shut down for about 5 hours due to an ISIS bomb threat. Everyone had to evacuate to the buses. Everybody in the crowd had to evacuate to the parking lot while the bomb crews come in and sniff everything and go through and then clear it. And it's fine. Show goes on or it doesn't. That one, my band had just finished, and I was walking to the showers when the bomb threat got going. And the band that was going on after us is Rammstein. And it's, of course, German hometown show for them. Like the music or not, doesn't matter. It's something to see. And they had all these massive lighting rigs in the air, so much staging. They spent like 3 days setting up the show just for them. And the bomb threat happened right before they went on stage, and they had to cancel, and they couldn't even play the show. And everyone was so bummed out, because they're like, oh, we just wanted to see Rammstein in Germany, you know? So that sucked for them. ISIS isn't the only one that likes bomb threats. Believe it or not, and this is a little weird to me, but some of the real, without being political, fundamentalist Christian organizations in the South, Florida, Clearwater, Florida, right-wing conservative church group threatened the band I was playing in, say that if we played the show, they were going to firebomb the venue with us in it and everybody in it. And, we get this nasty 2-page letter, before the show, that if we go on in their little town in Florida, they're going to firebomb us because we're just heathens and we're sending bad messages to the community and we're going to go to hell. And they're going to send us there because they're good Christians. And I thought to myself, we're just playing rock and roll, man. We're just regular people. We're not hurting anyone. We're not out here shooting places up. We're not out here doing drugs because it's a sober band. It's like everyone's pretty much sober. A few of the crew guys drink, whatever, but this isn't the band that, we're not Motley Crue from the 80s, We're not doing any of that crazy shit. We're just playing rock and roll. And this church group wants to kill us all for putting on a concert in their town. Come on back to the middle and let's just all have a good time. Let's enjoy a rock show. Let's all just relax. Have a drink, whatever. Smoke a joint, whatever. I don't care. Do what you like. Just don't hurt nobody. We're all just here to have a good time. And I think that that's what people need to remember instead of calling them bomb threats at a rock show. What kind of cowardice is that? We even got, right now, we've got people threatening to send ICE agents to a Bad Bunny halftime show at the Super Bowl. It's like, come on, man. We can't even watch the Super Bowl without some weird shit going on. Let's see, one time I was on tour in Germany, and our bus broke down on the Autobahn where lanes were merging for a construction zone. So we're broken down in a bunch of cones right where 2 lanes merge to one, and it's like 2, 3 in the morning, everyone's asleep. Bus breaks down, gets sideswiped by a semi-truck, didn't even know, didn't even feel it. Got sideswiped again, didn't even feel that one, because we were just dead asleep. Got us off the bus, they finally get a wrecker out there. They take the band off in a Sprinter van with like 1 or 2 tech guys, off to the gig. The rest of us gets jammed into the back of this wrecker with this big, huge Eastern European guy driving this tow truck, because we're pulling a tour bus. So it's a massive, tow truck thing. And we're all just sandwiched in like this, 10 of us, crew guys, for probably an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Get to the tow yard place, and then we're stuck at this repair shop, like maybe 12 to 15 hours. None of us had really slept at this point because we're all just tired. There's no food anywhere around except for maybe a gas station a half a mile away. Finally, they got us another bus, and they got us on there. We got some real food, and we ended up catching up after the next day to the band, to which they pulled off the show with just a monitor engineer and a front of house guy, all rented gear. I don't know how the hell they put it all together without the rest of the crew and everybody there, but they did. So kudos to the band. Way to go, Buck Cherry. You guys fucking ruled. Sometimes when you're driving from Italy to Spain, that's sometimes a 2 to 3 day bus drive, and that's just straight through. They have 2 drivers. They might stop for 4 hours, and you might get a hotel real quick to just grab a shower in between there. But some of those are some long drives, and you're just on the bus. You have your bunk, you have a front lounge, and usually a back lounge. And the artists typically take over the back lounge. So crew guys aren't typically. I mean, some guys go back there. I don't. I try to sit out for artists just as a courtesy thing. So you're limited to either your bunk, which is about the size of a coffin, if you're lucky. If you're really lucky, you get the condo bunk, which is about the size of 2 coffins. Beautiful though, because you go right through like Monaco and all the Riviera, and it's gorgeous, but it's a long drive. I try not to get into too much of the personal stuff of the things that we've seen over the years, because what happens on the bus should sometimes just stay on the bus. If you're doing fly dates like I was with the last band I was working for, where they fly out, do like 2-3 shows over a weekend, and fly home. But if you're doing 3 shows on a weekend, let's say you fly from Seattle to Atlanta, catch another flight to New York, drive 4 hours to a casino somewhere or whatever, work all day, do the show, sleep for 2 hours, drive another 4 hours back to the airport, fly back to Atlanta, fly somewhere else. Same thing, maybe sleep for 2 hours. And then keep doing that. Do that 2, 3, 4 days in a row. And it gets to a point where you're not sure really where you are anymore because you're so delirious. Yeah, all I can say is that sleep deprivation sucks. That's one of the worst parts about the touring game, is the sleep deprivation. Because when you're on a crew, you need to have your faculties and be fresh and ready to work. Because you're working sometimes 16-hour days. Sometimes that's outside in the heat of Florida in the summer or something like that. It gets pretty hot over in Europe too in the summers. A lot of humidity, a lot of heat, and if you're out there for 16 hours, that really sucks the life out of you. Definitely touring is becoming more of a young man's sport, because the older you get, man, the harder it gets. Oh, and by the way, none of this would be possible without Mountain Dew Baja Blast. While we're not officially endorsed here at MR Guitar Services or Century Guitars, we would love to be. And if Mountain Dew, if you're listening, Baja Blast is by far the tastiest beverage you can have in your entire lifetime. Baja Blast, Mountain Dew.
We'll see if we can get an endorsement. It'll be great.
That'd be awesome. I mean, if there's something that can go wrong somewhere, it's gonna go wrong, somewhere, sometime. The biggest thing I can stress about equipment failure is to prevent it with preventive maintenance. Stay on top of your equipment. Troubleshoot stuff. If there's a problem, fix it right now. No, you gotta take that shit apart, figure out why it's cutting out or whatever. I can't tell you how many days off I've spent in a hotel room in the middle of a tour, setting up shop in a hotel room and working on guitars, fixing broken headstocks, doing replacing nuts, pickup swaps. Why did the TSA cut the capacitors between the volume and the tone inside this Les Paul? Why did TSA even go inside the guitar at all, but let alone cut capacitors out? I don't know. But guess what? Day off, I gotta fix it. I mean, check every nut and bolt every day. Check your strap locks every day. You don't want to have a situation where your boss is playing his real 59 Les Paul at a gig, rocking out, having a good time, and the strap lock screw just pulls right out of the guitar because it's stripped. And then here it is, the guy almost drops a real 59 Les Paul that's worth over $400,000 and is looking at you like, hey asshole, why didn't you fix this? That said, you've got maybe 5 seconds to 10 seconds in a situation where, like, say, an amp fails during the middle of a show. Because dead air is not a good thing to have happening when the band's playing, because then pretty soon the singer's looking at you like, why aren't you fixing this? We can't hear him anymore, And it's bad for you. It's a bad look as a tech. Like, if hey, one of these amps is on the fritz, or it was giving me a little static last night, have a backup amp ready to go. So all you got to do is just a couple of quick wire swaps, and a couple of quick power switches, and you're at least back up and running. And then you can take that head into your hotel room the next day and fix it. There's those times when your guitar player walks in a half hour before the show and says, "Hey man, I just bought this new guitar. I want to open the show with it, but can I have you put my pickups in it?" I'm like, "Dude, we got 20 minutes to downbeat. I got to change over the stage right now and set up all your stuff." "Yeah, but you got time, right?" 20 minutes, and it takes me 15 to get the stage set, and then 5 to tune up and get you on the stage? Sure, I can make it happen. Got you covered. In situations like that, hopefully you call it a reinforcement, give it to you a little bit of help. But yeah, I've done that where I've swapped out pickups half hour, 20 minutes before showtime, and literally as we're screwing the control plates back on, plug it in and make sure it works. "Oh, it works. Quick tune. Oh, and here's the guitar player now. Here you go. Have a good show." You pull it off by the skin of your teeth. And after you get a chance and it's working, and he's out there and he's working, he's like, "All right, cool, yeah," smiling, gives you a thumbs up. You're like, "Oh, fuck. Thank God it worked," Other ones, you're in Sofia, Bulgaria, and for some reason, there's a buzz in the bass rig. Just real nasty buzz that just won't go away, no matter what you do. Try try different amps, try different cabinets, try different basses, new cables, new everything. You switch over the whole rig. Nothing works, it's just there. So, okay, you gotta just deal with it somehow. And what I did on that one was I took a lot of the treble out of the signal, and that helped tame it down a little bit, but it did kind of make the bass sound a little muddy. So you tell the monitor engineer, "Hey, crank the treble in his ears." Tell the front house guy, "You might need a little more treble out there to get his regular tone," So you just dial in, you gotta figure out what the problem is, and then work around it. If you can't fix it, you got to find a workaround. Overcome, adapt, and improvise, like the Army always taught us. Casino show down somewhere like Louisiana. The venue had just gotten some new audio equipment, and they put a giant drum sub behind the drummer, which during sound check managed to catch fire because it was wired incorrectly. So that was pretty cool. Almost burned down the entire casino and the drummer. Because they got a free piece of gear that they didn't test before they put it up there. It was wired backward, and it overheated the voice coil, which, caught the speaker cone on fire. And I'm running around looking for a fire extinguisher while the other guitar tech, who's standing right next to a fire extinguisher, like a millennial, what's he doing? Filming it. I'm like, "Bro, I'm running around here crazy looking for a fire extinguisher, and it's right next to your leg, and you got the camera in your hand?" "Oh, yeah." So you got that to deal with, yeah. Sometimes you get some crew members that necessarily aren't playing heads-up ball all the time. Well, it wasn't my failure, but it was the other tech on the other side of the stage. He tuned all the guitars and the basses on the stage left side of the stage a half step down, because there's a little button on the Boss tuner that if you hit it, it changes your tuning either a half step up or a half step down. Well, he hit that button and tuned all the guitars, like 10 guitars and like 4 basses, a half step down that day. Band comes in for sound check, and everyone's looking at me like, you mistuned his guitar." I'm like, "Dude, I run 2 tuners in a row, as you can see. So I always have 2 tuners running at all times. There's never a failure of a tuner, because if there is, I got another one already in line ready to go. So I've got those 2 tuners, I've got a clip-on tuner, and I've got my iPhone tuner. And I go through every guitar in my vault, which is about 10 to 12 of them, and I'm like, mine are all in perfect tune right here. And as everyone's chastising me, going, "Well, you must have done something," I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it wasn't me, because I got 4 tuners saying I'm good. Let's check yours." And turns out it was the other guy who initially was talking all this shit, blaming me. He's the one that did it. I'm not going to mention names, because you know who you fucking are. So you got to really watch out what you're doing and pay attention, because something like that could happen. And thank God that happened at a sound check and not during the show. I'd rather have a failure on the bench or before the show than during the show. So I torture test the shit out of the equipment before it gets into his hands or her hands, whichever the artist I'm working for. Well, I did work for Keith Nelson of Buckcherry for about 5.5 years. And he's probably got the coolest guitar collection out of anyone I've ever worked for. hands down. Real 59 Les Pauls, 56, 57 Juniors, 58, 57 Gold Tops, like real deal guitars, 52 Fender Esquires, like the real stuff, you know. And he's a horse trader. He's always trading stuff back and forth, but it was just like a steady supply of just amazing guitars, all these killer vintage guitars that everybody wants to work on, that hardly anybody ever gets to. Very few people get to work on those guitars, let alone get to own them. And to have been in that position for as long as I was, and to be able to work on that level of guitar, the dream guitars, for that long was just an amazing thing. And I'll always have a place in my heart for Keith. I've only gotten to touch just a few of them, but those few of those holy grail guitars that I've gotten to put my hands on, it's been something, you know. There is something about a guitar that's been around that long, that's made out of that old growth wood that was cut down before the atomic age. It adds to that sound. It opens up and gives you something that you can't get out of a brand new guitar. You can swap out electronics all day long, but some of those old Holy Grail guitars are Holy Grail guitars for a reason. That said, I work on a lot of pieces of junk. They're just crusty and dirty. People don't wash their hands before they play it. And now when you have your own shop, like your own repair shop, as opposed to working for one artist, I'm not just working for one guy and his guitar collection. I'm working for everybody's guitar collections in the shop here. And I get a really good variety, even like say some low-end guitars that are getting upgraded. But even some of the cheap guitars are fun to work on, so it just depends on what it is. And the endorsement is still happening. Mountain Dew, Baja Blast. Ozfest, early 2000s. Pantera, the old Pantera, was playing. And I'm standing on the side of the stage with, watching Pantera. Here's Dimebag, Phil, all the guys, the original band. And I'm over here on the side of the stage, right by the Guitar World. I've got Zakk Wylde standing next to me. I've got Celierna from Godsmack next to me. I've got Dee Snider from Twisted Sister next to him. And you look down, and there's like 5 or 6 other rock star guys that are on the Ozfest tour. And I'm just, at the time I was doing artist relations, and I'm just a regular dude standing there with one of my artists, Zakk Wylde, who's playing with Ozzy. And Dimebag's guitar tech walks over, lays out like 20 to 25 solo cups, pours like 2 to 3 shots of Crown in each one, and then like a splash of Coke in each one. And Dimebag comes walking over to us, puts one in all of our hands, we all do a shot together, he throws the cup and goes back out there, and he's doing this while he's playing. So Dimebag's up there just shredding his ass off, comes up, just grabs one, hey everyone, cheers, throws it back, and keeps on playing, and goes back out and keeps playing. And he did this probably about 10, 15 times during the maybe a half-hour part of their set, I'm like, this is pretty surreal, like, I'd never dreamed that this would be what I do, but that's what I did for a long time. Got to smoke a joint with Willie Nelson on his tour bus. That was pretty cool. Saw him 2 nights in a row at the Fillmore in San Francisco. His guitar player was using EMG pickups, and I was the artist relations rep for them. Went and got to see 2 shows. Incredible. Willie Nelson played 3.5 hours, then signed autographs in the rain for like another 4 hours until every last person got their autograph. True gentleman, true rock star. He invited us up onto the bus afterward to smoke the joint, and I'm like, wow, I'm sitting on Willie Nelson's tour bus smoking a joint. I know there's a million people in the world that have done that, but I'm one of them. Let's see, smoked out with Cypress Hill. That was pretty cool. Christian Oldie Wolber is the bass player from Fear Factory. He was playing bass for Cypress Hill on a big tour, big stand-up bass, 5-string custom bass, and we'd made the pickups for him. And he invited me over. I was like, hey man, let's go burn one. And I go into the room, and it's just like a scene out of a movie. You walk in, and there's like 20 people. It's silent, and it's just a cloud of smoke, and everybody's got these huge joints, and they're just passing them around. But nobody's really talking. It's pretty quiet. Everyone's just power smoking in this room. And man, by the time I left there, and I had to walk up the stairs to this little platform, I got to the top of the stairs. I'm like, I can't feel my legs, man. And I'm watching the Cypress Hill show, and I'm like, I have to sit down. And these guys are out there putting on this amazing show with all this energy and shit, and I'm just like, I gotta walk down those stairs in a half hour. How am I gonna do this? So I mean, be careful when you party with your idols and your rock stars. Be careful. Yeah, it can be dangerous. I was actually leaving, walking down the stairs from the old House of Blues in Hollywood. The foundation room was the exclusive VIP club up on the very top floor, and it's got this stairway going down the back side of it. And I was coming down the stairs. It was my girlfriend and I and a bunch of her little friends. And coming up the stairs is Eddie Van Halen, and he sees me, and the girls I'm standing with, and he's like, "Oh my God, hey man, I haven't seen you forever." And he's pretty wasted. This was back when he was having some issues. He was pretty wasted, so he either thought I was somebody else, and was like, "I haven't seen you forever." I'm like, "Hey man, good to see you. You know, good to meet you." That kind of thing. I'm like, "Fuck, this is Eddie Van Halen." And he's like, "Come on back in, guys. We're gonna go sit at my table." So I ended up watching a Seven Dust concert at the House of Blues, at Eddie Van Halen's VIP table on the balcony, having drinks with Eddie Van Halen. And I'm just like, this is pretty awesome. I mean, like, I remember being a little kid and hearing, you know, the Eruption and Running with the Devil and all that, because this is awesome. You know, we're putting on a rock concert for 120,000 people in Spain today. That's pretty cool, you know? How can it be bad? Yeah, okay, it's hot as hell. Yeah, we're gonna work 16 hours today, and that's hard. But you're still getting paid to put on a headlining rock show. I mean, come on, man. This is great. And so anybody that yeah, it's hard. Yeah, have I complained? A ton. You know, have I been out in that heat going, "Oh, this sucks, I hate my life"? Sure, we all have. Because if you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. It can be hard. But man, you know, overall, um, just being able to do this for a living, it's a dream come true, and I appreciate it every day. I am grateful every day that I get to do this. And yeah, it's a long, hard road, and it's not always glorious. But you know, look around. I've got a whole lifetime full of memories that are, it's not always good, but some amazing, cool memories. All because I chose to do this with my life, you know, and it's a choice I'll never regret. You know, music is a way of life, and if you can do something in music, whether it's working on guitars or being the actual songwriter, or touring the world as the guitar player or the drummer, as a tech, working for a music company, working in a guitar shop, those are all important roles that help get that music out to people's ears. Working for a record company, you know, cleaning up the studio, you know, someone's got to sweep floors too, and that's how a lot of the guys start in this industry. Howard Roberts, one of the greatest jazz legends of all time, one of the greatest guitar players of all time, when he moved to Hollywood back in the early 50s, he would do sessions and then sweep the floors at night just to earn extra money. Yeah, it sucks. You don't always get paid a lot. There's not always a retirement plan or a healthcare plan involved with any of these gigs, but you know, you work around those things because of the joy and the love of doing it. Like, I truly love working on guitars. I love it when especially like a beginner kid that doesn't know any better, brings me a guitar and the action's this high off the board, and he's like, "It's so hard to press down," you know. And I take his guitar and I fix it. I get it playing right so the action's nice and low and it actually plays like a real guitar again. And then you see their face light up, like, I had no idea that a guitar could be like this. And that's cool, you know. That just, I see their motivation. Now they're going to go play even more and create more music, you know. And I had a little bit of a part in that. Or at the end of the show, when you see the singer say, "Hey, everyone, put your phones and lighters in the air," and you see, you know, 100,000 people putting their cell phones and lighters in the air. I had this much of a part in making that happen, and that's pretty cool. Please edit that out. Please edit that part out.